So, before we go into anything else and the reasons why we voted for Brexit, let me tell you what Margaret Thatcher said back in 1988, I think it was. Yes, in my hot little hand here, I've got my iPad, and on there, although it's gone off now, stupid thing, is the speech that Margaret Thatcher made back in 1988 when she made a speech in a place called Bruges. If you look it up, it's in Europe and it's called Bruges. Not bruise, that's something you get on your skin, but Bruges. Now, Margaret Thatcher was all for the European Union. Before I go any further, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Thatcherite. I wasn't a great fan of Margaret Thatcher. She did a few things that were really, really stupid, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. She loved her country. She loved Great Britain, but she didn't exactly look after the people who go out and do all the work. And this is why there were so many strikes and all the mines were being closed down. Nobody had a job anymore. That was a bad mistake. So from that point of view, Thatcher, I wasn't a great fan of hers. Plus, let me tell you this. In 1974, I left the UK and went to live in Australia, where this video is coming to you from now. We're in a place called Melbourne. You might have heard of it, down south at the moment anyway. She said something about people, and she called them expats. We're an expat. And she said this. She said, for all those people who have turned their back on their country. Well, that was a crock of shit. I never turned my back on the country. I came out to Australia because I wanted some sunshine. I wanted to go to a beach and enjoy some warmth. And in the UK, when I lived in London, it was cold, it was rainy, it was horrible. And I'm saying that now, looking out the window, and we're just outside Melbourne, and it's cold, and it's rainy, and it's horrible. But we're here for a reason. Otherwise, normally we'd be up in the north of the country where it's warmer. So she said something about the expats, which I didn't particularly like. So no, I'm not a great fan of Margaret Thatcher, but what she did say, and that's what I'm just about to read to you now in this speech from Bruges, sovereignty. Thatcher strongly defended the sovereignty of the United Kingdom, emphasising that Britain should not cede its national identity or decision-making power to the European community. Now, what did all the prime ministers since Margaret Thatcher do? They gave a little bit more power to Europe, a little bit more power to Europe. Suddenly we found that they've got power over the fisheries all around the outside of the country. They've got power over the judicial system. They've got power over our immigration system, which is what Farage is fighting for now. Good on you, Nigel. I like Nigel. He's all right. So Thatcher said, don't give the European Union all this power. It's going to do us no good whatsoever. And that's exactly what's happened. They've got too much power. So now that we've actually decided to Brexit and come out of the European Union, everyone's getting upset. Oh, it's a big mistake. Oh, we should never have left the European Union. What a crock of shit. We should have left the European Union. Unionists want to join the entire world together. I'll make some more videos about global unionism, which has been the biggest disaster for nearly every country around the world, except for China. That's has just been terrible because I'll talk about that later in another video. But let's go into Brexit and why we voted for Brexit. We should never have given all the control over to Europe. All we should have done was started off, as Thatcher said, an agreement for trade. You can buy all of our crap and we won't charge you, or you won't charge us, any import duties. So I'll buy your stuff and you can put it over here, and then you can buy our stuff and you can put it over there. Nobody charges import duty, so things remain fairly equal and not expensive. That's where it should have stayed. But no, every year they wanted a little bit more, a little bit more. All the dickheads involved in this, John Major was one of them, David Cameron's another one, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, they're all the bloody same because it's all about money. It's all about money. Let's give us some money. So let's get into why we voted for Brexit.